To be seen with Kalinda, take 3.5.
Welcome back.
And action. I never wanted to look like, Taylor Swift. I always wanted to wear these crazy, exaggerated shapes. Like, I'm not from this world.
Never going to forget your performance of The Seas.
If I can close my eyes and listen to the song and see myself performing it in my head, truly just get lost in the performance, that's a good one.
I want to share a little bit of the story of kind of how I learned about Kalinda and how I met you.
That was crazy. Nobody come for me for that. That's crazy.
I'm excited to see what people will have to say.
That was our first really big production that we did, and it actually took place the weekend that the COVID lockdown happened.
Wow.
Yeah, people would be covered in blood all over the costumes. It's gotten me in the news several times.
You got to open for Chapel Roan on her Midwest Princess tour.
Performing in front of that many people is always lovely.
Yes.
I love being seen. And I would like to publicly apologize to Ava Morningstar for...
Hola mis amores, welcome back to Be Seen. I am your host, Divina Duven, and today in the studio we have somebody that I admire and love a lot. Please welcome to the studio, Kalinda.
You don't love me.
I do.
Hi, Divina.
How are you?
Oh, I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing amazing. I'm so happy that I get to sit down and talk with you. I feel like I don't always get the opportunity to.
No, we're usually in professional settings,
right,
and I'm usually blitzed out of my mind, so.
But it is how it is.
It is how it is.
I do open up our pod. I want to share a little bit of a story of kind of how I learned about Kalinda and how I met you.
Yeah, let's do it.
So I have always obviously been a huge fan of the drag scene everywhere that I'm at, not only in Indianapolis, but I will always try to travel around and seek drag and watch it on TV, pageantry. So I obviously knew of you, I knew of Sierra, I knew of Anna, I knew of Sage Summers. I feel like a lot of people that were doing shows regularly in Indy in a way.
Mm-hmm.
And then I remember one time I saw you in Mass Ave, and I was like, oh my god, that's Kalinda. I'm just going to do it and ask her about drag, because I had the little itch within me of I just need a little push to get me to a stage. So I remember talking with you, and you were so nice and told me just do it, just to go to one of the shows. And I
definitely remember that. I totally remember that.
I ended up going as an audience person first. And then I decided to join the Monster House open stage. So now you get to see how everything connects and how everything got started and how Kalinda plays a huge part in my story and who Divina is and now who all of this is. So thank you for helping in a way create
I remember that show specifically that you came to, because it was an audience of all of my friends and then this one little Latina gorgeous beauty sitting in the back, and I was like, who is this? And so I picked on you the whole time. I think I fell on you that show, actually.
Yeah, it was really fun. I was terrified and so intimidated, but it was so nice to get to not only watch you perform, but again, there was a lot of people in the audience that I feel like now I know. So it was nice to get that first introduction to them, I feel like.
Yeah.
We're going to jump right into our first segment of the evening, which is called Within. And that's where I just want to get to know you and the things that maybe the audience doesn't get to see all the time. So your inspiration, like how Kalinda was born.
Ah.
So let's just start it right there. So tell me a little bit about who Kalinda is, how long have you been doing it, and what was like that first, like the beginning, like how it all started.
I mean, it definitely all started in my grandmother's house wearing little dresses as a child,
That's how it goes.
for certain. But honestly, Kalinda is. I always describe Kalinda as like a glam punk superstar, alien fuck slut.
Love.
I think that she loves glamorous, but she also comes from a very like fantasy world. I grew up doing musical theater, big shocker there, which honestly a lot of people don't realize when they look at my drag first. But I started in musical theater and I was very much a fantasy video game kind of diva. And eventually I just kind of got tired in musical theater of playing the roles that other people wanted me to play, being told how I was going to play this role, being told what I was going to wear as this role. And so then I kind of fell into drag because it was a way of me being able to take control of those things and put on an image that I wanted to put on. And even to this day, like, if I have to perform for anything out of drag, I immediately am 10 times more nervous than I am in drag, just because, you know, I built that person. And when I'm performing outside of drag, I'm not necessarily in as much control. So, you know, that's where Kalinda came from. She was a musical theater fantasy diva. She kind of does it all. She can fit into any of the boxes you want.
I completely agree. I feel like the musical theater, even though that it might not be the first thing that you think about when you think about Kalinda, it definitely translates in your performance, in the way you perform. I feel like I can definitely tell that you have a lot of background and experience. I'm never going to forget your performance of The Seas. I don't know why that performance has like been stuck in my head, but it was like just so good to see your energy and the way you like bodied the song. Like you just didn't perform it, you like gave it a whole.
Yeah,
Like,
that's always how I can
twist.
tell a good song to perform is like if I can close my eyes and listen to the song and see myself performing it in my head and like truly just get lost in the performance, not even think about what's coming next, that's a good one.
I know that you kind of mentioned how Kalinda has also helped you come within yourself and find that confidence. So, how has Kalinda made you braver, maybe in like your day to day life? Like, what has been one thing that you have taken from her to carry with you?
One thing that I've taken from her is definitely, you know, RuPaul has one of those RuPaulisms that they say all the time that, you know, um, you can take whatever power you have in drag and translate it into your own personal life. And I try to think about that a lot of the time because I do have, when I don't have that armor on, I do have some like social anxiety type of stuff. And it's not always comfortable talking to people and being around a bunch of people. But recognizing the fact that, you know, when I'm doing that in drag, it is the exact same person that's there. The outside is just different. So you can still tap into that, like, that energy of that person and have it come out, which, you know, I've always said that Kalinda is really just a, like, amplified version of myself. It is not, like, she's not a different character that I've created. She really is just all of the best and worst parts of me amplified to the
I have a little quote here that says that drag often acts like a mirror. So, like, I feel like when you're in drag, a lot of the parts of yourself shine through.
yeah.
So that fits perfectly with what you have been saying about how it's who you are, and that's how Kalinda came to be.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious to see if there's any specific, maybe people or pieces of work or art that inspire you or like have inspired you throughout your journey that you can think of.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, video game nerd down. So like any of the Mortal Kombat characters, any of the like uh online like role playing create your own character games. Oh my god, I used to love going in there and just creating the baddest diva that I
It would
could.
always be like the cuntiest with
Yeah.
like.
Yeah. I never wanted to look like, Taylor Swift or, any other pop diva on stage. I always wanted to wear these crazy, like, exaggerated shapes and, look like I'm not from this world. And I still try to hold on to a little bit of that, even in the, like, real person looks that I do. I still try to hold, especially like what you said with the energy of the performance, holding on to that, like, extraterrestrial, extra realm person.
Do you happen to remember the first time you ever like stepped out as Kalinda and like performed? And is there any little?
So I remember, I don't think that the first time that I stepped out in drag was necessarily me stepping out as Kalinda. But I do remember the first time that I was in drag, and I remember the first show that I did. And I remember I was a Halloween drag baby. So I like borrowed hair from a drag queen that I knew through theater and borrowed somebody's dress from a production that they did. All the musical theater gays coming in to help me. And yeah, I just got dolled up and literally stayed at home. I mean, this is also like 16 years old or something.
Yeah.
And so I'm just chilling at home with my friends. I look fierce. I would still wear that dress today. So
I love that. We will talk about like there's so many more actual like shows and projects that you have been involved in that I would love to talk about, but we'll dig in our next segment. But before we do that, I want to close out this one with one last question, and it is, what's kind of like the one thing that you hope not only other performers or people in our community, but your audience takes from like whenever they see Kalinda perform? Like, is there like a goal or something that you have in mind whenever?
yeah, I mean, when I perform, I want to be that person that you're hearing on that audio track. I want to be that person in front of you. I've been very blessed to have other entertainers commend me on how into the music I get and how I just kind of embody whatever I do. And that's something that I always want to like impart onto other performers and just like impart onto other people. Like, this is your happy place. When you're in your happy place, you just go full throttle. You forget where you are. You live in that energetic bliss of what that is. And don't think about it too much. So that's something that I always give to other people. Like, just let yourself escape into it and fall out of reality.
And it 1,000% translates in the way you perform. Again, using that example of when I saw you perform Disease, I feel like you were just like with so strength. I was like, oh, this was everything. So it definitely translates, and I love that that's your driving force in a way.
Yeah.
We got to talk a little bit about your inspiration and your beginnings. So that is going to bring our segment Within to a close. We're going to take a little break and we'll be right back with you.
This is To Be Seen, a space for queer performers to share their stories. We're looking for local businesses and artists who want to support this work by sponsoring future episodes. If you'd like to advertise your business or event here during ad breaks on this podcast, please reach out to Media by Nick Cagle. Let's keep these stories alive together.
Hello, welcome back to Be Seen. I am your host, Divina Duven, and today in the studio we have Kalinda with us. We already got to go within and talk about the inspiration and everything that makes Kalinda the very well rounded queen that she is. So now let's step beyond and talk about performance. There's so many topics and so many things that I want to talk to you about in this section. So just to open it up, I want to talk about like your first ever, I guess like first production that you put on. And if I'm not mistaken, that was called Olympus Has Fallen.
That was the first big production. Yeah, we'd been hosting at Hampton and Co. Our monthly all ages drag show for a while before that, but that was our first like really big production that we did, and it actually took place the weekend that the COVID lockdown happened.
Wow.
Yeah, it was like the very last day, and like at midnight that day it was supposed to be like indoors, shut down, nobody leaves. And so we kind of had like one of the last shows here in Indy, before everything closed down. It was as you could probably guess, Greek god and goddesses themed. So had all these different performers that all portrayed each of the Greek god and goddesses. Again, very on brand for like my little gay fantasy mythology like self.
And now you're still the show director and host of the monthly show at Hampton and Co. in Irvington.
Yes.
And I would love for you to tell us a little bit more about that. Like, how has it been working there for a long time and still going?
Well, and Adam Hampton, who owns the shop there in Irvington, historic Irvington, he is actually my cousin, my real life cousin. And obviously, you know, having a queer cousin is very helpful, especially when you're wanting to come into drag. And since he had a space, he wanted to give me an opportunity to kind of like work on my craft a little bit. And so since then, we've been hosting for 7 years now, Indy's longest running all ages monthly drag show, which is amazing. We've had so many performers come through. Honestly, not a lot of repeat performers in 7 years because there are just so many people to get through, which is an amazing problem to have.
Yeah.
But I'm very blessed to have that show. You know, there's obviously a lot of crackdown in our country right now against drag queens being in front of children and things like that. And, you know, especially the type of drag that I do a lot of the time, you know, is not necessarily for children, but, you know, everybody finds a way to make it work. I love being able to challenge people like that, and it's gotten me in the news several times, but that's okay because we're doing it not for those people. We're doing it for the people who are coming to the shows, and so, you know, very blessed to have that show.
I completely agree. Another thing that you are very heavily involved is your like theater, and your theater background, as we talked, is very extensive. You are actually very involved in an amazing organization that we have here in Indianapolis that it's called the Indy Drag Theater. So you played Audrey too, you played Vivian in Legally Blonde, you played Princess Fiona.
Velma Von Tussle and Hairslay. Yeah.
You co-directed Sweeney Todd.
I sure did.
That I got to see, and it was sickening.
I costumed Carrie, which was especially hard because of the blood.
The blood.
Literally every single night after every show, people would be covered in blood all over the costumes. So after every show, I would have to go and launder every single costume and then bring it back and have it ready. And on 2 show days, I had like 3 hours to do that.
Oh yeah, that's crazy. Yeah. So you have a very extensive theater background, and you're involved with our local amazing organization, the Indy Drag Theater. You have pretty much done everything with them, from costuming to staring on Shrek as Princess Fiona, as Audrey 2 on The Little Shop of Horrors. Like, so many iconic roles.
For those who don't know what indie drag theater is,
Shame on you.
shame on you. No, it's okay. You know, we're local. If anybody's watching who isn't from Indianapolis, I don't blame you necessarily. Um, so we're a theater organization here based out of Indianapolis. We were created by April Rose and Blair St. Clair, and we are going for 3 years now. And we do a lot of different events, but our uh, main sell is our big main stage productions of taking musicals and allowing queer people to be authentically themselves and play characters that they wouldn't necessarily always get to play in a very straight-coded theater world. Unfortunately, the theater world still tends to be pretty pretty queer,
Yeah.
exclusionary, and we just want to like provide a space for people to do whatever they want in whatever way that looks like. You know, we never want to limit ourselves as artists, and so it's a great place for performers to learn a lot of really great skills, first of all. I mean, the experience that you're going to get working with not only your castmates, but all the people that are on staff putting the show together is amazing. But, you know, like you mentioned with me, I've had the opportunity, obviously, to be an experienced actor already, but I've gotten to do a lot of things that I didn't have the skill set for beforehand. Like you said, costuming. You know, I know how to put stuff on me, but it was a nice challenge to be able to um, be trusted with making everybody else look good and directing and all these different things. So it's a really amazing organization. I'm lucky to serve on the board of directors, helping make decisions about, you know, our mission as a company and things like that. So I'm waiting to see Miss Divina over there at an indie drag theater audition, but we'll
I'll
see.
get there. I'll get there. And my thing with indie drag theater is that it's one, a huge production, so it's a huge opportunity for anybody out there that might be interested. And I would love to, but I haven't done it because I feel like I have to put like the right amount of time and effort to be able to give that opportunity justice.
Yeah. So that's actually the funny thing, Davina, is that with indie drag theater, we actually lend really well to entertainers who haven't been necessarily in theater before because, I mean, even with drag performing, there's a lot of basis there. And again, like what I mentioned earlier, you know, you can take any sort of skill and translate the power that you have from that into something else. So I think that there are a lot of skills that people have that they don't realize necessarily will lend themselves into that type of space, but actually really do. And you can play whatever you want. You know, we're not discriminatory against any sort of like mask or femme presenting. You know, if you want to come in and play, you know, the most fierce, dragged down, cack boom version of Olaf from Frozen that you want, you know, we're completely open to that. You know, we don't ever want to limit anybody's, take away from anybody's talents based on things that are none of our business, you know, like people's gender.
I completely agree, and that's one thing I admire and love about indie drag theater. How every single role can be played by anybody, and anybody, it's going to bring their own unique flair to each role, and that's what makes it so special and so amazing.
Absolutely.
This last question to close it out is a little bit more fun. And is, let's say that you had an unlimited budget and everything was possible. So let your creativity go wild. What would be your dream drag or theater production?
I mean, if I'm going strictly based on like musicals, I mean, if I have an unlimited budget, I'm gonna do Phantom of the Opera down because I've seen it on stage and it is fabulous. But again, it is a very big
production,
expensive production to do. But hey, if you're paying for it, then I'll take it. If we're talking about like things that aren't necessarily musicals, because, you know, Indie Drag Theater recently just put on its very first play that didn't have any sort of musical numbers really in it, to see how, and it went really, really fantastic, but that was Clue. And so I would really want to see something like that, but with like a Scooby-Doo kind of vibe.
That would
like,
be so fun.
yeah, take some Scooby-Doo stuff and create a story and throw numbers in, and, you know, just something silly and goofy that continues to expand what people think about when they think about drag theater anyways, you know. It doesn't have to be a musical necessarily. We can make it into something. We can make it a musical, don't worry.
Yeah. We'll find the songs and the soundtrack to whatever foolishness we get ourselves into.
I already have it.
Yeah.
It's already in my brain.
Yeah. Actually, I have one more question. So one more thing I wanted to ask you about, and I feel like it's another big thing in your career, and so cool and so fun, is that you got to open for Chapel Roan on her Midwest Princess tour.
Yes.
So how was that?
Oh, it was fantastic. You know, I feel like at this point it's not that big of a thing to say that you opened for her, because she's been to so many cities and had so many amazing drag artists open for her. But it was really cool just for the pure fact that I didn't actually know who Chapel was before she reached out and asked me to do her show. I had to go look her up. This was before her big album released. And in fact, like the week before the show that we did with her, that's when she dropped that album. So it was kind of like really taking off right at the beginning there when we performed and opened for her. But it was an amazing experience, you know. Performing in front of that many people is always lovely.
Yes.
I love being seen. But she was an absolute delight. Like, honestly, just really down-to-earth energy. It was really cool, and it's nice to always be acknowledged for something, especially when, like, you're not asking for it and, you know, you're not expecting anything. Just to have somebody that doesn't have any idea about the Indianapolis drag community at all be like, hey, I like your drag, can you come perform for me, is always, like, a grateful blessing.
That's amazing, and that's so cool that you got to do that before Chapel became who Chapel is today.
She was always Chapel.
I mean, right,
she was
but
always Chapel.
Before the world caught on.
Yes, exactly.
To who she is. That's going to bring our second segment to a close. So thank you so much.
Thank you for your support on our new project titled To Be Seen. We are opening ad spots in between segments for local businesses and artists in the community who want to partner with our mission. Your support will help amplify queer voices right here in the community. For sponsorship info, message Media by Nick Cagle to learn more.
Welcome back to Be Seen. My name is Divina Duven, and I am your host. And today we have our super special guest, Kalinda. We already got to...
That was crazy. Hey, y'all.
Hey, y'all.
Hi.
How you doing? We already got to learn so much about you and your art and the types of shows that you like to do, all of the things you have been involved. So now we have reached the segment of our show where we do 3, 2, 1 to be seen. And to start that segment, we are going to kick it off with 3 more like fun, quick answer questions. So
when you said 3, 2, 1, side note, when you said 3, 2, 1, in my brain flashed Squid Game, like red light, green light for some reason, and I got like a wave of anxiety. But I know I'm not gonna be shot here today. Yeah, hopefully. Maybe. Depends on what kind of shot.
Right. Oh. Bring back
back shots. Bring back shots.
They've never left.
They've never left. Well, they've left for me for quite a few years.
Okay.
Okay.
The first one is going to be, what has been the weirdest or funniest thing that has ever happened to you mid-performance?
The funniest or weirdest thing.
Maybe like something that happened to you, or like an audience member did something crazy, or
I don't know. I mean, I don't think that anybody has done anything really crazy to me at performances, because if they have, I usually have let them have it.
good.
I think one of the things that comes to mind, I guess it's a little crazy. It more was after the fact that I realized, but I was performing down in Louisville for a competition that I was doing, and I had a portion of a song that I got possessed in my brain for some reason to grind on somebody's face on stage. And so the person who was at the end of the runway was my lovely sister, Ava Morningstar. And so I grabbed her and threw her onto the stage, and I started riding her face. And I found out afterwards that I may have gone just a little too hard, because she legitimately thought that I broke her nose in that moment from riding her face a little too hard. And I would like to publicly apologize to Ava Morningstar for breaking your nose with my crotch. What can I say? This cooch is hard, and
It had to be done. And I just know those girls that was a Play Louisville, probably, right?
it was at Play. Yeah.
Like, where they are like so like they don't let you do too much crazy stuff. I know they were like,
It was still on stage. I didn't get off stage to do it, so you know it works.
that's an amazing story. I'm so excited, Ava, to see that.
Yes, thank you, Ava.
Or
You can actually see that video. I have it on my Instagram page. If you go on my reels, I have a performance to the Cock Destroyers at Play Louisville, and you can see the moment where I grind on Ava Morningstar's face. If you would like to go take a watch, I will always accept the views and the follows.
please go check it out and make sure you follow and like. Next question. So, which theater role do you secretly think that you or Kalinda could improve more than the original actor?
Oh my goodness. Who could I improve? Ooh, this could get really controversial. I could go based off of like some of my recent opinions of things that came out. Okay, let me be very clear. I do not think that I am better in any way than Bernadette Peters. However, I do think that in the Into the Woods remake, the movie version, the Disney movie version, I do think that I could. I sound insane for saying this right now. I could give Meryl Streep a run for her money. No, but I do think that I just would have played that role in a very different way that I think would be really cool to play. So not necessarily better, just different.
Yeah.
Nobody come for me for that. That's crazy.
I'm excited to see what people will have to say about that.
Oh, I'm sure they'll have lots to say.
Our last more like silly and lighthearted question is going to be, if you could only use one single makeup product to get in drag, what would it be?
One makeup product. I would probably pick a little neutral shade, like 5-pan eyeshadow palette, that had like a gradient of like neutral colors from like very light to black. Just because I feel like with that I could do my contour, I could do my eyeballs, my eyebrows, I could do everything. My lips. I really could kind of do everything But I don't have good enough skin for that. I would need foundation, but that would realistically probably be the
Word.
one. Yeah, or I could do like red lipstick and do some crazy alien look or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, or like a single eyeliner, like of like a random color, and then do just like
It
go.
depends what eyeliner it is. The
True.
quality, darling.
True. It would have to be a little gel.
Yeah.
Or like something.
A little dip pot.
Yeah. Now let's like pick it up a little bit with our two more intentional questions. So, what has been a moment on stage so far where you have felt like the most like proud in like yourself, or like that euphoric feeling of like, oh, like I am so proud of myself in this moment?
I definitely feel like there are certain songs that I perform that just immediately give me that like pure 100% just filled with otherworldly energy type of vibes. But what was the question?
So it has been kind of like where I feel like you answered perfectly. Like, where have you felt the most alive as Kalinda? And I guess like whenever you hear certain songs is when you feel that euphoria.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say. Like, I mean, what I do as Kalinda is perform. So, like, when I feel the most like Kalinda is in the midst of a performance. Like, in the midst of a performance, I'm not really even present and thinking about anything. Like, if I'm looking at you while I'm performing, please know that I'm not actually looking at you. I'm, like, looking through you. I'm just, like, in a third person, like, completely separated place, like... Because, you know, that's our escape. You know, that's when they talk about an escape, it really is an escape. Sometimes that is the only time in a day that I get to feel like the stresses of everything else in the world go away, and I'm just living in only that. So that's when I feel like most Kalinda. I mean, I also feel like most Kalinda when I'm sitting at the vanity after everything is done, and I'm just like, ooh. Oh,
yes.
My God, who is that? When I'm moaning, that's when I'm most like Kalinda.
What is one lesson you have learned throughout your career and journey that you still carry with you till this day?
Well, I've been doing drag for 8 years now, and it's gone through many different changes in that time. Obviously, the community just changes a lot anyways in a period of 8 years, but especially with COVID being thrown in there, that throws a whole nother element in there. So I've just learned so many things, but I think the thing that I've learned that I'm holding on to right now actually comes in partnership from a drag journey perspective, but also a sobriety journey. I stopped drinking alcohol about 1.5 years, a little less than 2 years ago. And I think that raised the level of professionalism behind the scenes that I think a lot of people forget about. You know, you can be an amazing performer and come and turn the party, but realistically, like, if you're not showing up on time, if you're not coming prepared and ready and in a clear headspace for what you need to do to take any of the different punches that are being thrown at you, as there are at drag shows, then it's all kind of for naught, you know? You have to, at the end of the day, you are the person that you are behind the scenes way more than you are the person that's on stage. And so that's the part that I'm trying to put a lot of energy into, you know, showing up with extra time, you know, showing up 15 minutes before call time, coming with extra options in case something doesn't work. And, you know, just a lot of different little things like that that I don't think I would have been as conscious of before being sober. Obviously, people can make it work. It just was not working for me, and I wasn't necessarily being unprofessional. I just think that I have a lot more of an appreciation for that now, and a recognition of when I am doing that, and giving myself a pat on the back of being like, this is something you care about, so make it look like you care,
Yeah. And that's such a powerful message, and thank you so much for sharing. I'm so proud of you that you saw something that you are so passionate about and you're so good at, and you took the necessary steps to make yourself better and
That's all you
take
can
you
do.
yeah take you to where you want to be. And I feel like I can relate to that a lot. I'm also sober from alcohol, and I feel like it does help, especially in this industry and in this business, to be a little bit more grounded in a way and present.
Now I'll do a little coke, but no. No.
So we have made it to that portion of the evening where it is your moment to be seen. It is your moment to look at that camera, and we're gonna give you the floor to say anything that it is you want to say, any message that you want to leave your audience with, or like absolutely anything you want them to know. The floor is yours. This is your time to be seen.
As my time to be seen, I would like to leave with the world to fuck bitches, get money. No. Honestly, right now, I'm learning a big lesson that I think I just want to share with other people in general, is that not everybody has to be your friend, and not everybody has to like you, and you have to find peace with that. As long as you're being a good person and you have support in your life and you're putting out nothing but kindness, there's always people that aren't going to mess with you and aren't going to like you, and that's okay.
Thank you so much, Kalinda.
Yes.
We appreciate you so much.
I appreciate you. Thank you for having me. It has been a absolute blessing to be here, and always lovely to see your growth, and I'm very excited for this new journey that you're going on. Especially, you're like, girl, I'm not getting up on the stage with the lights. I'll just be here in the studio, sitting comfy, and make my coin thought is this way.
Yeah.
I live.
Thank you so much again for all of the opportunities you have given me.
Absolutely.
Make sure you go see Kalinda and her fierce cast of performers every single month at the historic Irvington at Hampton & Co.
Yes.
Show director and host, and make sure you follow all of Kalinda's social medias, and over there you'll see all of the dates and all of the places that you can catch her. So make sure you support local drag. Make sure you go and catch a production of Indie Drag Theater whenever you can.
Oh, yeah.
And make sure you catch Kalinda whenever you can as well. Thank you again. We love you.
Yeah,
And this has been To Be Seen. Bye.
To Be Seen exists to highlight the voices of queer performers in Indianapolis and surrounding communities. Want to help us build this new project? Local businesses and artists can now sponsor an episode and be featured right here during our breaks. To get involved, contact Media by Nick Cagle. Let your voice be heard.